Fine enough, the answer to that question Perry just put in chat is right now. Yeah, it's literally just started as you asked that, Perry. That should be the ping. Alright! Slow mode has gone on. Like everything's set up for a nice little run around Dragon Trail. Just playing with mic 1 second. Getting my mic all the way back to where it usually is. Been on my headset. It's been on my desk for the last couple of hours. Well, last couple of days even. So it's been pushed in. We good? Is the sound quality alright? Before we get to go and do this properly. Yeah, if the sound is alright. Yeah, alright, the sound is alright. So, welcome to week 2, everybody. Week 2 of the ALR Esports season. Beautiful. This time, we're at Dragon Trail Seaside. And that can only mean one thing. One thing indeed. That is the Dasher King. Everyone's favourite thing in the world is we go through and see Owen almost clipping a wall there. So yeah, it's just it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. Because the Dasher King has mercy on nobody. It doesn't matter how good you are. One slight mistake and it's over. See, so we're seeing 14 of the best in our league go ahead and take a shout at this Dragon Trail Dasher King. It's going to be a very interesting experience, I think. Obviously, it'll be 12 for qualifying, it's 12 in Lobby A and 12 in Lobby B for qualifying. We're not that far away from starting qualifying, actually. We should actually have all the teams in, so that is free for Aero, Perry, BX, and Zico. That's free for Project Platypus, free for Arix as well, you can tell by the livery, and then free for Falcon. So let's go through each team as it goes along. So Project Platypus currently sits at the top of the grid. They are bringing Zico, Perry, and BX. So BX is making his season debut. Perry needs to make a recovery after last week. It was rather abysmal from his standards. And Zico got his 1-2 in the end last week after a heavy penalty. So he's looking to build on that. And in second, we should have Arix, which gives us Javi, who sended second on track, third after penalties last week. Slim, I believe, is on it for his first race of the season, and Comfy User, who is a new driver in this league, full stop. So we'll see what he has to bring to the table today. We'll see if there's anything big expected from him. Third in that term should be, give me 1 second to have a quick double check of the standings here when my phone actually loads it up. Not me still not being on my Wi-Fi. This shows how well I've done since I got home. I haven't had a lot of time to get myself set up. But yeah, so actually Aero GT is second, so we'll go for Aero GT. They're bringing Owen, Primecall, and Scotty to the group today. Primecall and Scotty, both in Tier 2. Scotty didn't drive last season, but driving again this season. And Primecall came on very strong at the end of the last Monday season, so we'll see if he can improve continuing on to today. Then we went through Arix, and then fourth it's Falcon. And Falcon are bringing Ahmed, Zico, and Dino. So Dino is completely new to the league, but we know a lot about Ahmed and Alessandro. Alessandro, one of the highly anticipated drivers this season in Tier 1 in particular. People thought he could do well. It was not a good race last week for him. But of course, Ahmed is looking to recover from last week as well. And Dino, it's an entire wild card. We don't know what the plan is, what he's going to be able to amass here today. And then that brings us to the 12 people we currently have in this group. It's 2 minutes past 8. We'll give everyone an extra minute, maybe or just over, to get themselves ready. I put the get ready, the starting soon sign into chat. So it should be all good, ready for us to go here very shortly. The 4 teams set up. I'm thinking Falcon are going to have the best day today, honestly. Looking at the group that everyone's brought with them, it really does depend on how much BX can keep it on the track, and same goes for Perry for that matter. Those two prone to a spin or two so far. Well, Perry so far this season and BX for the last season and some change. Yeah, I think our GT might be in a little bit of a struggle today. And we'll see where Eric's plays. Slim and Javi could do really well. We'll figure out what Comfy brings to the table. Alright, so we've gone to 03, so we've got enough. We've given everyone enough time, I think. Let's go. One last check of the settings. 39 laps. Evening. We're on preset weather because it's in qualifying. 10 minutes of qualifying, so everything should be good to go. Yeah, everything is going to be good to go. Let's go. Let's start some qualifying. Everyone should be well and truly ready to go. They've had enough time to get themselves set up at this point. We'll see if anything is going to happen here in this qualifying that we maybe not expected to happen. At the klaxon, we're off and running. Obviously, no one realistically has host advantage. I'm the host, so it's just a case of whoever's beside me. Javi is going to be that guy. Javi is going to be the first one out of the pits here for qualifying at Dragon Trail. He's followed by Comfy, so both the Arex boys are out early. Oh, 2 of the Arex boys are out early, and Slim is the 5th one out here, sandwiched between 2 Project Platypus cars in that Gen X. Don't know if the Gen X is going to be particularly good around here. That's probably not a suited track. Dragon Trail being a lot about the cornering speed of your car, not the straight line speed, which the Genesis is usually prevalent in. You would expect things like the M6 to be obviously good here. GTR, another one that would be absolutely astounding around this track. Just going off testing in the pre-season myself, but we'll wait and see if that comes to fruition. Zico now going to the inside of Slim. These two are racing their way through their qualifying lap for some reason. Who's going to be the one that backs out the Zico? Zico should start backing up, give Slim some space. Slim in the wall there. That's not particularly a good entrance into the death chicane. They both made it through. Zico should start pulling off. And Zico is going to start pulling off, and that will mean that we will go to the front of the grid and start qualifying properly. Here we go, Javi to the line, the very first qualifying lap of the night. Let's see what that Aston Martin can bring. It shouldn't be too difficult, too bad around this track. It is a cornering car rather than a straight line speed car. It did slide through that first chicane, so Javi's probably going to find more time in his next couple of laps. We'll wait and see where the benchmark is now. He gets a lot to the inside of the double right-hander here. He's still keeping his car going. Comfy's not having too rough of a lap either. By that measure, as they go into the S's now, into the second sector, a really good part of Dragon Trail. Dragon Trail as a whole is just a really nice track. Javi may have gone a little bit deep. He's only gone deep there. He keeps the car on the track enough to keep it going into the third sector. I know a little bit of fire if you go over the curb like that, though. We go to now into the third sector, and here comes the famed death chicane. If he's even going to get there, the car sliding a little bit there out the hairpin. As we now head into the death chicane. Here we go. Is he going to be able to make it through unscathed? The first lap, yes he is. It looked like a pretty decent one there as well. Comfy from behind. Didn't get scathed by the chicane either. Let's see if anyone else will. Looks like the first 5 or 6 have gone through fairly cleanly. It's the rest of the grid starting to follow now. Javi to the line. What is he going to do? We see that 35 is usually the benchmark. 35.8 is going to be the first one. 35.9 for Comfy. It's not a bad lap in the slightest attempt off of Javi. And it's a 35.5 for BX, who puts himself on top of the group at the moment. Zico only good enough for 36.0. Ahmed's coming to the pits. Perry not going to be the next one up, but we'll wait and see where he sits himself anyway. Is it going to be a 35? It's not. 36.3. Good enough to beat Ahmed. Well, Ahmed at the moment, but Ahmed hasn't really done much of a lap. 36.8 for Scotty. Alessandro on what looks like his first lap. Dino must have had some sort of issue on his one. Maybe a pit stop. Not entirely sure what the difference was there, but he didn't go out. He didn't continue his first lap. So, yeah, it would have been a pit stop. Okay, now out behind BX. I am very intrigued at what Dino can pull off, though, and that's why we're going to stay with the Norwegian. We're going to see if there's anything here for him. Well, we're not going to stay with him at the moment because he's actually on an out lap. It's probably Dino, isn't it? Not Dino. Alessandro going through the first part of the death chicane. Here we go. Is he going to be able to do this properly? It didn't look too comfortable there, that's a certain, but he is through. Javi did a 35.565, and that is enough to put him at the top for now. I'm not entirely sure what the gap between him and BX is. The gap between them two and Comfy is rather large, about 4/10 of a second right now. Zico just behind Comfy. I don't think Zico's putting up great laps at the moment. Alessandro, 36.2, is up to 6th, but again, it's not that great of a lap. It's 0.5 of a second between Zico and Comfy. It's 0.3 of a second between Comfy and BX, and then 12 thousandths of a second that split the front two. Okay, so we've got two groups of 2 at the moment. Javi and Slim and Alessandro, sorry, did identical times. Wow, okay, so we're Noah's Ark in this at the moment. Through the first couple of laps of qualifying, we're 2x2 all the way through. Owen now in the dash chicane, so we're going to actually stick with Owen for the second half of his lap. 39.4, our prime code's got to find some time and find it quickly. Only 2.5 seconds off as it stands, he's got to get it right. Owen now up to the top of the hill, he's only, as it stands, 15 thousandths of a second behind Scotty, but you would imagine there's a lot of time left in his lap. He's going to the line, is it 36? It is a 36, it's a 36.4. That's good enough to beat Scotty, but not good enough to jump Perry. Scotty's got a 3-second time penalty for cutting the pit lane. We've got Ahmed and we've got Dino here. Dino just about surviving with a little scrape on the exit of the dash chicane there. That did not look comfortable by any means. Comfy did a 35.6. He won't be too complaining with that, as that will put him probably, I think it's about just under a tenth, just under 2 tenths, sorry, short of Javi and BX. So it's a good run for him so far. Dino to the line is not a Dino, whatever you want to say, however you want to pronounce it, is not having a good lap whatsoever there. 37.3 has got to find some time. Ahmed is coming up to the final corner now. We know that he's got himself something, got himself a time on the board. Here we go to the line. Is it good? It's only a 36.2. That's all. That's good enough for 5th. It's 18 thousandths of a second above Slim and Alessandro, who are still identical times right now. Let's see what we're doing here. So outlap for Javi, outlap for BX. Comfy is currently on a lap. So let's see if there's any improvement coming for him. We're 7.5 minutes through his rate through the qualifying here, and we'll see if Comfy's going to do anything. That didn't look good. He somehow avoided the wall. And if he did hit the wall there, it wasn't a massive collision. He just about kept the car going. Let's see if he's going to run. Nope, he's going into the pits. Alright, so Zico on an outlap. Ahmed is currently on a flying lap. We'll see if he's got any improvements in him at this point in time, but we'll go to the end of the lap. Dino there again. Not entirely sure who the car in front of him is. It's Javi. Let's see if there's an improvement for Javi here at the front of the grid. The answer is no. But there is one for Dino, and it's good enough for 5th. I don't know why this has been causing so many issues for my ability to speak English today. But yeah, Dino's up into 5th with a 36.0 and Slim a 35.8 up in the 4th. So the tiebreaker between him and Alessandro broken. Alessandro is about to start his lap. See if we can get a response. Ahmed to the line, 36 to 35, 35.8 beat Slim by 4 thousandths of a second. A lot of close battling here. In terms of the time, Perry, a 36.1 is only good enough for 8th at the moment. It's not a massive gap down the grid at all here. Alessandro obviously going. Owen's got to find some time here. Scotty's going to the line. He's obviously not doing a better lap, and Prime Call has got realistically one more shot at this. He's got to get this right. So let's see who's the closest to the pit lane right now, and that is Owen, who is on an outlap. He will then... he's got damage, so he must have had a really bad depth chicane. He's going to try and buy his time here for that damage to go. That damage hasn't gone. He's going to have to go up the hill now with the damage. Should impact the start of his lap. See the flashing red. It's finally gone by the time he started his lap, so he's got to get something right in the, well, in the corners here to help his poor first sector, what will be a poor first sector. 35.4 there for Javi, and then Dino does a 35.7. So Javi extends his gap at the front. And I'm pretty sure Dino has only managed... He's actually put himself 4th at the moment, so that's not bad for him. We're going over the line, so we're actually going to take a view of people here. Alessandro to the line. Is it good? It's not! It's not good for Alessandro. What about Perry? Ahmed did a 35.6. That's good enough for 3rd. What about Perry? To the line. 36.2. Only good enough for 8th. We've got cars done. Prime Call. 35.7. Zico. Not an improvement. And that leaves us with a couple of drivers left on the grid now then. Scotty is one of them. And it isn't a good lap for Scotty, so we're going to come off of him. That leaves us 2 more to go if we can find the cars. Owen is one of them. He is a 10th down, and the other one, I believe, would be Javi. And Javi was the other one that managed to make his way through. Owen, hoping he'd gained his time through the dash chicane there. See if there is a any way through for Owen in this qualifying lap. He is 10th. It's not been a good day at the office for him. A 36.4 is probably going to not be the cutoff point. It will be a 36.0 for Owen, and that will jump him into 8th. And that should give us Javi to the line. It's a 35.3. 2.5 tenths of a second clears Javi from BX. Javi didn't start too strong in terms of growing a lead, but he has absolutely clobbered that final lap and clobbered everyone else. There you go, that's our list at the front of the grid. So Javi from BX, from Ahmed, and then Comfy in 4th, so it's 2 in the top 4, 3 in the top 6 actually here for Arix, who look to redeem themselves a little bit from the first showing in Brands Hatch. And then you got Dino in 5th. That makes 2 Falcon drivers in the top 5 in 3rd and 5th. And then Project Platypus have 2nd and 7th. So, we've got a pretty good front three-way fight again between these teams. And then Owen is in 8th, the highest driver from Aero GT. And then you got Perry in 9th, 36.1. Alessandro in 10th, 36.2. Another bad day at the office in qualifying for Alessandro. Not really meshing too well with that Porsche at the moment. And you got Scotty a 36.8 and then a 37.5 for Prime Call. Those two almost certainly going to be in lobby B with that kind of timing. It's not a potentially good run there for either one of those guys. Just waiting to see if Owen's not Owen. If Ross has been able to see this see the list at the moment, and we'll see if where everyone lies. What is the grid? Bear in mind, top 14 go into lobby A. Then the following 10 go into lobby B. Yeah, we'll see if, well, Ahmed seems to be fairly certain that he's, not Ahmed, sorry, Richard seems to be fairly certain that he's joining this first lobby. We'll see what is going on here. Owen's pedal seems to have had a bit of an issue. We will end the thing here so everyone has the time to sort themselves out. I'm also going to start setting the grid. Time 1. This is where I get the stream up because I've realized I haven't taken a picture. And that is not the smartest way to do it. Change event settings. Why are we not allowed to change the event settings? What's happening? Fluffybut's trying to join. That will do it. That will definitely do it. Let's try this again. Alright, let's try this again. See if I can actually do the settings this time. Auto last. Oof. Alright, so lobby A is Javi first, then it's BX, then it's Richard. So, Pegasus having a nice time. Then it's Ahmed in 4th, Comfy in 5th, Dino in 6th, Slim in 7th, Deco in 8th. 9th is Skyline, so V2 starting to rear their head again. 10th is Owen, 11th is Snipes, 12th is Fluffybutt, 13th is Perry, and 14th is Alessandro, who got away with it, I think. Honestly. I think he got away with it. Not really a lot. He should have been able to get away with there with a low 32, but it is what it is. We need 1, 2, 3 to enter in. Just waiting on Ahmed, and then we'll be waiting on one more as well. I'm not entirely sure the 14th person that we don't have in this lobby right now. I think it's Snipes. Yeah, it's Snipes. That's the one we are missing. And then we'll be good to go. Skyline in here already, so that it's the first time we'll see V2 play any sort of situation here in Lobby A this season. We're just waiting on Snipes now. In the meantime, however, I will do the starting grid. So it's Javi first, then it's BX in second. Then it's Richard in third. And Richard being third is what I am very, very intrigued in. Because he is... I do like him as a driver. He's pretty good as a driver. And also he drives... is being Pegasus as well. It's a bit of a curveball for the rest of the grid. So we'll see if there's anything that can he can affect here. Should be Comfy in 5th, Dino in 6th, Slim in 7th. Yeah, Richards was very fast last week as well. Had a blinder of a strategy call for good measure that got him into the top 5. He knows what he's doing. He definitely knows what he's doing. That's for certain. Slim, and then it's Zico. Then after Zico, it is Skyline. After Skyline, it will be Owen. Then it's Snipes. Then it's Fluffy Butt. Then it's Perry, and then it's Alessandro. We should, I think that jolt on the left, on the right-hand side of the screen is Snipes. It is. That is Snipes. Owen is just going to reset his PlayStation real quick to see if he can get his wheel to work by the looks of things, which is not a good sign for Aero GT in the slightest. Their main driver having hardware malfunctions by the looks of things already, and we haven't even started. That means I can now put Snipes where Snipes needs to go. Snipes is there, which should be then replaced by Owen when Owen gets back. And then we'll get going. See Pumpkin Patch typing in the chat. We'll see what's going on. So, let's see what the cars are the new guys that have joined us. So Fluffy Butt, we know from last week, but we also know that he did not have a very good time at all. He ended, I believe it was in the end, a lap down. He just never really got going. It went badly at the start. He was in the gravel with another driver, I'm pretty sure. And then he just never recovered, so he's hoping to make a better run at it tonight than he did last time. He's in the M6. Skyline in the Porsche 911 RSR. We've seen Alessandro in that car. Alessandro hasn't been able to make it work. So let's see if Skyline can do any better. Which is not... We'll see if there's going to be any sort of Porsche resurgence. I don't expect it being in on this track. Then... Other drivers that have joined us. Richard's in the M6. We know all about him from last week. Top 5, as I mentioned earlier on. Nice little strategy call to undercut a couple of guys, making sure that he got the extra points. In the top 3 to start this time. Let's see if he's got got a way to capitalize on it. Who else? Snipes is in a 4C, which, well, we know is an absolutely ballsy move. We don't know if it's I'm guessing it's better since the update, but it is still a very ballsy move to be in Alfa Romeo. Owen should split the 2v2 drivers. Owen does split the 2v2 drivers. Right, so now he's started. We're going to start soon. I'll give him about 30 seconds to get himself set up with his setup, because he's only just joined, and we'll get going properly. We're fair to everyone here. So 14 drivers in Lobby A. There is a lot of talent in this field. A lot of talent and not a lot of time between them. Most of the gap, I think, comes from the front. Harry being in a Aston Martin and being on pole by such a distance is a testament to Harry's ability on this game, to be honest with you. If he doesn't go off the line, you know why. Oh, that's not a good sentence. But we have given him enough time to set himself up. Let's go. One last check of the event settings, just to make sure I haven't balled anything up here. And then we go. Alright, Javi and BX on the front row. Something we've been used to fairly regularly in ALR. Then you've got Richard and Ahmed on the second row. And that's the interesting row. If I'm gonna be completely brutally honest, that's the interesting row here. That is the row where a good start could quite frankly make or break the entire goddamn race for these drivers. We have the red lights popping on. It's 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's lights out, away we go! Here Dragon Trail looks like the back of the grid got the better start there. But Javi is still in the lead, so BX not jumping off the start. Confi's up in the third straight away. Ahmed and Richard not doing very well off the line. We go into turn 1. It's still, a little bit of contact here. Confi's managed to get himself all the way to the inside, and Richard's in the wall! Richard is in the wall. I think Slim's there as well. I think that's the blue underbody. It is. Slim in the Genesis, Richard in the M6. They're both in the wall. Oh, that is not good news there for Pegasus. Oh, Eric for good measure. Everyone else is going to jump up a couple of positions here. Owen up in the 6th. He got off the line this time. Owen ahead of Zico at the moment. These three going wheel to wheel with each other at this point in time. Skyline there in the Porsche. Is he going to be able to force anything against Zico here? Or is he going to be under fire from his own teammate as they head down into the hairpin for the first time? Looks like Skyline's going to try around the outside of Zico here. If he can get this to work, going into the death chicane, that would be incredible. He's still got the better line. He's in front. That's a really good move there in the hairpin from Skyline. And then he's thrown it all the way straight away. Into the wall goes Skyline. Into the wall goes Dino from the looks of it up front there. He's in 6th now. Skyline's going to go again. This time Owen trying to go around the outside. Oh, that did not look good. The two Falcon drivers, I think, may have come together a little bit there. And through goes Skyline. Skyline taking the position off them both. Owen might be going for it as well. Skyline up in the 5th. What a start for him. Fluffy Butt is here. It's a much better start for Fluffy Butt. He's got Dino on the outside. He's got him. As they go into... Oh, that did not look good. That did not look good at all. And Skyline is off the track. Skyline has been tagged. Yeah, Skyline has been tagged in the Porsche there. Couldn't get a good enough angle of what happened. Oh, Snipes has been tagged. I think that's Dino this time. Who tagged him? Oh, that is not a good start there for Team Falcon in terms of staying out of incidents. I'm not entirely sure if that was a mistake or if Dino tagged him. But I don't think V2 will be happy either way. There's a few cars that have not had their liveries loaded in. I need to go and delete some storage next time, that's for certain. Wow. There was an incident there in turn 1. There was an incident there, well, turn 2, sorry, in the chicane. And then there was one up in turn 4 or 5. The double right-hander as well. And they were both the V2 drivers that come off the worst at the end of it as well. That is a really unfortunate sight for them. So you got the front here. Owen and Perry are going at it. Owen overtaken by Perry. Perry up in the 6th. Ahmed up in the 5th. Zico, Confi, BX and Javi are gone. They are off in the distance. Let's get a strategy check at the moment here then. So, going forward, Javi has learned his lesson. He's on soft this time. BX is in second on soft as well. Comfy and Zico both on the soft. Mediums for Ahmed, and that explains the gap where the front four have gone. And then you've got Perry on the softs, Owen on the soft. Dino, sorry, is on the medium tire, so it looks like a team strategy decision here from Falcon to be on the medium tire to all three drivers. You know, Richards on the softs, trying to work his way back. Fluffy but it's on the soft as well. Slim is on the soft. Oh, that did not look good. Alessandro's in the wall now. That's the yellow flag that caught my attention really late, but Alessandro's in the wall now. And now he's down behind beside the V2 drivers. There's been a lot of carnage, and I didn't really get good enough camera angles to show a lot of it. So we're now going to head toward the dash chicane here on lap 3. The front four have definitely separated themselves from the rest of the group. Kind of bottlenecked here by Ahmed, who's on the medium tyres. And, well, quite frankly, he will take the position he's in right now. He's in the top 5. He's got himself on a on the weaker tyre compared to the rest of the grid behind him. So there is an opportunity here for the Falcon drivers to do something about it. But Perry is going to try and break open that bottleneck as they head down toward turn 1 on the end of the third lap here. Into the fourth lap. Perry's gone to the outside here as we head toward the chicane. Is there going to be anything that sits between these two? Perry round the outside is a brilliant move. Gets himself ahead of Ahmed, and Ahmed isn't really in a place to fight that. Oh, that didn't all look good in the background. There is an M6. Off into the grass. It's Richard again. That's not good news for Richard. He needs to get himself under control here. So Perry has broken the bottleneck here on the, the medium tyre bottleneck from Ahmed. So Perry's now going to try and work his way back towards the front four, because there was a substantial gap made. You see the group that we're currently with are about 12 seconds off the front four. So there is a lot of ground to make up here. Owen needs to get by Ahmed as well, and he's finding it difficult to do so. They continue here into the dash chicane. A little bit of a wall hit there by Ahmed, and that's going to rub some speed off and allow for Owen to try and take this around the outside, and gets him before the corner. And the amount of speed that came off the car there was just a little bit too much for Ahmed to handle, and Owen will take that position. So Perry up into 5th now, has already broken a 1.5 second gap to Owen, as Owen finally got through against Ahmed. Oh, that looked a little bit deep there from Ahmed, and it might be a case that he's going to be overtaken by his teammate here. Dino's got by, and he's up in the 7th. Ahmed dropping another place here. And it's shades of the Brands Hatch start here for the Falcon team. Richard is starting to find his way back. He got Fluffy but fairly easily there. Now he's got to get himself through the two Falcon boys to see if he can get himself back into this fight. He started 3rd. It did not start very well in the slightest for him, as he got taken out early into the race. Conthi is fighting with Zico at the moment. This has gone fairly well if you're an Eric's driver. Javi has a decent lead to BX in the race as a whole. You can see in the background of the picture there, BX turning into the final second to last corner, the final hairpin. And he's also got backup because Confi is currently in 4th. But as it stands, it's also a Project Platypus 2-3-5. So, incredible run here for both Arix and for Project Platypus. There's got to be someone to move the needle in the back of the field here. Otherwise, these two are going to start pulling away in the championship as well for good measure. Zico has broken the gap now on Comfy. It is about a second between the two. Comfy's going to have to settle at this point in time for fourth unless there's a mistake coming up for Zico. At the front of the grid, it's a 3-second gap now between Javi and BX, and you can see the gap there illustrated in that picture. Javi's gone, and there is no stopping him this week. There is no Mahata to stop him now. There is a 2-3 on the line here again for Project Platypus. Another double podium looking their way. Perry has cleared Owen by a substantial margin, but really isn't doing too much damage here to Comfy. So he's kind of stuck in no man's land here a little bit. In 5th. Got Owen in 6th, you see in the picture there. Then you got Dino in 7th. Richard in behind that. And then you got Ahmed on the back of him. So he made the overtake not that long ago. Richard is starting to make his way back through the field. He's definitely seemingly got a lot more pace than the guys around him. Fluffy Butt in 10th. Slim is starting to make his way back in 11th. 2.2 seconds off the back of this pack. You got Snipes, Skyline and Alessandro. Skyline and Alessandro, the two Porsches, right at the back of this grid. And Skyline had an absolutely electric start. It couldn't really have been much better for him if he tried. And then it all went downhill at the group of 5 or 6 of them came together at the end of lap 2 or 3. At the beginning of lap 2 or 3, sorry. And yeah, the two V2 drivers were kind of upended. Well, much of a way to fight back. Fluffy Butt is now on the back of Ahmed. This is going to be interesting because Fluffy Butt looks to the inside, doesn't get the move. There's a lot of tire screeching there. I'm not entirely sure which car causes it. At the start here, Richard is now lying at the furthest forward of the Falcon drivers. Let's see if there's an overtake to be made here sooner rather than later. It looks like BX may have had a bit of an issue as well, because BX has dropped from behind Javi to right beside Zico. Comfy may be a little bit in the distance, but BX has had a bit of an issue. 38.6 on the last lap is not particularly good. We'll see what he's done on this lap. 36.8 is on the sauce. He could do better, a lot better than that. Is this a fuel saving race? I'm not entirely sure. I doubt it. It's probably more of a fuel race than a tyre race by the looks of everyone's tyres, but it's not exactly going... there's not a lot of management that I think has to be done in this one. From what I remember at Dragon Trail, that is. I could be wrong, obviously. I've been wrong before. I'm likely to be wrong again, so... BX and Zico, 2nd and 3rd right now, with Comfy 2 seconds back. And Javi, 7 seconds in the lead. Javi has well and truly driven into the distance. There is nothing stopping him apart from his own driving style now. That's the only thing that can stop him. But yeah, BX is just starting to build that gap again. 7 tenths ahead of Zico, 2.5 tenths then to Comfy in 4th, just driving on his own right now. Perry's starting to make a little bit of a dent into Comfy, but it's not an awful lot. Still driving in a little bit of no man's land, but he is clearing Owen quite drastically at this point in time. Owen in the background there. Tires are pretty much identical. It's not exactly like Owen is doing it into that gap at all. And then you've got Dino is still here. Richard hasn't been able to make the move on the furthest forward of the Falcon drivers. You could anticipate there being a top 5 left in this for Richard. He had the pace. He is certainly one of the quicker drivers on this track right now. He needs to be avoiding himself, getting himself bottlenecked as he currently is, and his tyres aren't helping him out right now either. He definitely is fast. We've got a couple of guys here that look like they're on a different level though, compared to him on this race. He's not had the pace of a Javi or a BX in this one. Fluffy but still trying to get past Ahmed for good measure as well, and that's going to bring, well, it's going to bring Skyline into this because Skyline is going to get past Snipes. We go through the hairpin. The 2v2 drivers starting to work together. Oh, Snipes having a bit of a mare there. A little bit of sparks flying, but he survives. And yeah, these two are going to continue on driving. It's Slim right at the back now. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Slim. We've got yellow flags. We've got yellow flags. And we've got one for Ahmed. It's Ahmed that's the wrong way. And he's going to cut the pit lane for good measure. Damage on the front of his car. It looks like he probably could have gone for one more. Not entirely sure why he thought no need to cut the pit lane there, but now he didn't last for certain. Slim there in the background, he's in 13th. Alessandro is in 12th, and what looked like a potentially good day here for Falcon has just gone by the wayside again, and Snipes is also going to lose it. Snipes is facing the wrong way. He somehow kept it out the gravel and the grass, and oh, that, thank God Alessandro went through a ghost of Snipes, because that could have potential, that could have had disaster written all over that. Well then, and Snipes has left the room. Snipes has left the room, so he is penciled in last in this lobby. The race for him did not get off the ground after the incidents early on. I believe there was an incident earlier one anyway. Fluffy but in 9th. Then let's go see if we can go further forward. So Dino has caught up to Owen. There may be a potential for a move here sooner rather than later. Perry into the pits now. Is there anyone going to follow him? Owen is not. Dino is not. Richard is not. So Perry is all but out of fuel actually. Comfy 2.9 behind Zico, 7/10 of a second between Zico and BX, and it's still 7 seconds to separate BX and Javi at the front of the grid. There really is no real stopping Javi today, is there? He came here with a mission, a point to prove after last week. And he's proving that point and then some. The only issue is the rest of his team have not given him any help. Apart from Comfy. Slim not doing much of a job at the moment. Comfy doing a good enough job to keep himself in with the Project Platypus lad, but Perry is doing a significantly better job than the Finnish driver at the back, well, towards the back of the grid right now. Dino is still here. Platypus is OP again, yep. Here we go. Is there going to be a move? No, into the depth chicane there won't be. The only move that's going to happen now is if there's a mistake. There is not a mistake. Javi's got no fuel left into the pit, so he's going to make his stop here on lap 11. Doesn't look like people are following. BX is staying out. Zico is staying out. Conti still has enough fuel to go. Owen is going to join Javi though, and so is Richard. Richard came dangerously close to cutting that line there. So let's see what we're looking at here. So mediums, potentially one more lap after this for Dino, but I don't really know if he's worthwhile risking that. Medium's going on Javi's car right now then. Conti again in a position where he probably can go for another one after this, but I don't know if it's worth the risk to do so. Zico and BX are both certainly coming in at the end of this one. Oh. Apologies about that, just getting a little sneeze in right now. It's a second that splits BX and Zico at this point in time with Comfy 4 off the back, so he's just starting to lose grip a little bit now on the rest on the rest of the front. He needs to find a way back in. Oh, just about keeping that car stable enough here. It doesn't look like he's losing time rapidly now to Zico and the BX in front. And unsurprisingly, the Project Platypus lads are into the pits. The real question is Comfy following, and the answer to that is no. No, he is not. He's going one more. Alright, so Comfy is the one that comes in, stays out, sorry, and Dino's into the pits as well. So let's see where he is in relation to Javi, and where BX and company is in relation to Javi out of this pit stop. BX is 49% fuel. You see him there, it's not 7 seconds this time. But Javi has driven by. Yeah, it's definitely not 7 seconds this time. Okay, so interesting. The second stints have flipped here between Project Platypus and Arix. Mediums going on the car here for mediums went on the car for Arix here in the second stint, and they put in a bit more fuel, where BX went under half and put softs on again and cut the gap by 5 seconds for good measure. Zico putting in a lot more fuel, and in terms also losing a bunch of time. Perry 6 seconds off the back of Zico. We'll see where he is in relation to Comfy after this lap. I suspect it's probably quick. It's probably more than it's probably less than it was prior. Dino out ahead of Richard, the second that splits the two. Owen went on to mediums, put more fuel in. Softon just over half for Richard. Softon just over half for Dino. Let's see if anything else has gone on further back. Fluffy Butt is in ninth. He went on to medium tyres. Skyline on to medium tyres as well. And then you got Alessandro on soft with half fuel. Softs and 3/4 fuel for Ahmed, and Slim at the back on mediums. Comfy into the pits. Here we go. Let's see where he comes out in relation to Zico and in relation to Perry. There is two battles at the end of the day here. It looks like he's going to put in a decent chunk of fuel, just over half. And he's got on the medium tyres as well for good measure. You see Zico drive off into the foreground there. Here comes Perry up the back straight, up the home straight, sorry. And he is a lot closer now. He is significantly closer now. It was 5 seconds before, it's now 2. And there is a soft tyre versus medium tyres change between the two as well. So the real question is, at this point, is whether or not Perry can get himself in front of the Renault. Dino 6 seconds off the back of Perry, so he's losing ground a little bit. Richard is starting to bring himself back into this fight again. Owen 4 seconds off the back of these two, so we're kind of just in a little bit of a battle with these two. They try to make their way back toward the front pack. Yeah, Owen and Fluffy, but well, Owen's 6 seconds out of Fluffy, but so Owen's just dropped off the pace from the guys in front. Well, seemingly that's what's happened here. So Slim is now in last, fully in last, with Ahmed in second last, Alessandro here as well. So that's really bad news if you're a Falcon fan. And obviously we have one DNF, which is a V2 driver, on their return to Lobby A. See if we have any close battles here. Dino's had a really good lap here compared to Richard. That's gone from 7 tenths to 1.4. He doubled the advantage he had on the Pegasus driver. It's a 35.9 for good measure. It's a pretty good run there, and he is closing all the way in on Perry now. It's under 5 seconds, as Perry is now 1.4 away from Conti in front of him. 37.1 on the last lap on the soft tyres. It's not a pretty good time there for Perry. He's going to be losing time left, right, and centre if he continues to do that kind of time. It's about 1.2 seconds slower than the car behind him at the moment. Yeah, Zico and BX have comfortably cleared the Swiss driver now. And BX is only 2.7, sorry, off the back of Javi. There is a potential that BX can close this gap. And if he can close this gap, the final stints become a little bit more interesting. Not a lot more interesting, because it's going to be reverse of the tyres here, because then there'll be BX on a medium and Javi on a soft. So Javi, in theory, should just then blow by. But it is still going to be a relatively interesting runner strategy nonetheless. 2.6, so BX is definitely dragging that in just a little bit. Compi's now 7 back. Compi's now 7 back on Zico. Bear in mind, Zico has got the soft tyres on compared to Compi's medium, so you can expect that gap to grow. Perry might be looking to make advantage of it though. Perry to the inside. Gets him. Not really much of an effort there. Compi realizes the tyre disadvantage and just lets him go for now. Maybe he can keep onto the back of Perry if he can. That would be a good idea. Kind of just give him a little bit more time to figure out the scenario he finds himself in, with 3 Project Platypus drivers now directly in front of him. Dino's got to within 3.5. So that gap has come down significantly. Let's see what happens here. Is there going to be any sort of gap to come back? Is there going to be any sort of gap that's in front here between Perry and Compi by the time that Dino hits the scene? Because quite frankly, I wouldn't write off Dino for a top 5. At the very least, top 4 is probably more realistic, even at this point. The top 3 are seemingly gone. Compi! It can't keep his car together through the death chicane. A little bit of a tap on the wall will open the door for Dino to close the gap in even further. Of course, the one person who doesn't like to see that right now is Perry. He needs Compi to be the buffer between him and Dino when Dino arrives on the scene here. Let's see what's continuing on here in the first sector of lap 17. 17 of 39 here at Dragon Trail. We'll see if there's going to be any gigantic screw-ups in the dash chicane coming up as well. Dino is now 1.6. Perry's got a little bit of a gap to the Renault now, but it's only a couple of seconds that split him and Dino's on fire right now. Richard can't keep up. Norwegian has hit a little bit of a stride. 35.9, 35.9, 35.6. He's 2/10 off the fastest lap of the entire lobby at this point in time. We might be about to hit a huge point in this race where Falcon might be about to gain a couple of positions. It will kind of offset what's happened between Alessandro and Ahmed at the back there. They haven't really done a good enough job in this race up to this point. Richard 2.1, they're at 8 seconds ahead of Owen. Owen on the medium tyres right now, the rest on the soft. So the gap is expected to get bigger, but Owen is probably going to struggle to get that back. Everyone else's gaps have stayed relatively stable at the back of the grid here. So it is just a case of this battle in the midfield. The trio that's fighting at the front. We've also got Javi and BX that are probably going to go at each other here at the front as well. Won't be too long before that happens. The mediums versus the softs. You would think BX has got to get that move done before the second stints are over, otherwise it's game set and match Javi. Oh, it's deep from both of them. Comfy had a little bit of an upset car as he went two wheels over, where Dino went 4 wheels over and now goes to the inside. Can he get it done? Yes, he can, and he made that look easy in the hairpin. It's a good move. And it's not a move that Perry would love to see right now. Oh, Comfy to the wall! Comfy is in the wall! Just too deep, and he hit square on. That is going to be a really bad time for Comfy now, and I think he may have just thrown away any chance he had at a top 4 finish. Wait and see when everyone else goes onto a medium later on, apart from Dino, who we know for certain started on a medium tyre. So, in the battle for 4th, it's advantage Dino, realistically, here. The only one who started on a medium tyre. Or is it Comfy? Is gone! Dino, as soon as I say advantage Dino, he goes into the gravel and starts sliding his car and gives up 0.8 of a second. There's a really, really good way of... I have a really, really good way of doing that, don't I? Jinxing people left, right and centre. .9 now the gap now between the Project Platypus driver in 4th and the Falcon driver currently in 5th. Comfy has made life a little bit easier for Richard. He didn't have to spend the time overtaking the RX driver. Obviously, the 2 guys in front of him did. They had to lose, so they lost the time it took to do that. So a little bit of a gain situation here for Richard, as he looks to try and get himself back into the top 4 at the very least. He started in the top 3, qualified 3rd in this race. Would dearly love a second back-to-back top 5. He is probably hoping he could add a podium to the list today, but it isn't going to be the case. Not unless there's a gigantic mistake further forward. And it didn't look too clean there from Dino. He goes through the first couple of corners here on lap 20. We're just over halfway through this race now. Just over the halfway point. As it stands in front of the grid, we've got a battle. We've got a massive battle. We just tuned in at the right time, because here comes BX on the soft tyres. Is he going to get Javi? Is he going to get him down into the hairpin? Does get him. And obviously the tyre is set up, the tyre offset. BX needed that. BX needed that drastically. He has to now build a gap. As much as he could physically get by the time the fuel drops off here. BX is now in the lead, but we know for certain that it's going to be reversed at the end. It's going to be BX on the medium tyres and Javi on the soft. So BX needs all the advantage he can possibly muster up in this GTR before the end of his stint. And even then, it's unlikely that's going to be enough to hold Javi at bay. Bear in mind, Javi doesn't have to put as much fuel in the next stint. Javi doesn't have to do as much in terms of tyre saving, I don't think, either. So he's going to have a run at this. He's going to have a very clear run at this. And whilst BX has clawed in a ton of time, I don't think it's enough time, realistically. Not yet, anyway. But, yeah, BX overtaking Javi for the lead of the race on track. And you got Zico, who's managed to get himself in there as well. Then you've got Perry 10 seconds further back. He's not in the fight for the top three. The top three are probably going to end as they are. Just a case of what order. And then you've got Dino, who's now 3.3. He is gaining a little bit back in. He is reeling Perry a little bit in. 0.6 of a second on the last lap. It was 0.6 of a second on the last lap here. Will the Norwegian reel in the American here? It looks like Javi may have had an issue. Javi has had an issue. Javi hit the wall. Javi hit the wall in the dash chicane. And all of a sudden, BX had a massive gap. And the pendulum swinged again. Javi had it all in his hands there. Quite frankly, probably still is all in his own hands, but that is a mistake he probably didn't want to, well, he couldn't afford to make. Because he couldn't afford to hand BX such a large lead. It is 5 seconds now. That is roughly about what BX did to Javi in the pit lane earlier on. So we have a fight where BX on the medium tyres will probably still come out ahead of Javi. So Javi will have to now make an overtake. He will have to create an overtake from something. All of a sudden, this just got interesting. We said it earlier on that the realistic only way that thing they're going to change here, Javi doesn't win this race, is by a Javi mistake, and it looked like he made it. Definitely looked like he made it. It doesn't have damage now. Obviously, we're on light damage in this league. We'll see if there's going to be any sort of twist and turn to the saga now. It's 6 seconds between Javi and BX. Javi is going to have to close down a gap. Perry now into the pits, and medium tyres are going on to that M6 early. A lot earlier than everyone else. Bear in mind, Dino doesn't have to put on a medium tyre. He's done his medium tyre lap, so it's a soft going on that Lexus. He's got the best fuel tank. One of, if not the best fuel tank car in the game. For this class, so there is a chance that Dino has an certainly a good chance at top 4. He is one mistake away from a podium, if someone at the front's going to make it. Richard 2.2 behind Dino. I'm pretty sure Richard and medium to go on to. So Richard is going to be fighting Perry when all's said and done. Whereas you would expect the Norwegian to be driving off into the distance. Owen 2.3 behind Comfy now. Comfy's second stint has been a tragic one, to say it best. He is certainly not fighting for a top 5 now. He's going to have to settle for probably 7th unless he gets overtaken by Owen toward the end here. Owen and Comfy will both be going on to softs by the end of this one. Comfy is playing a fire a little bit here on the chicane as well. He is still ahead of the Aero GT driver. Ahmed ahead of Fluffy Butt as well in the back here. Where Perry is kind of getting held up by the other M6. Cavar driver doing a nice job at the moment. Slim hit the car in 12th. Alessandro is currently rock last. Rock bottom here. It doesn't really get much of a worse day for him if he tried. We head up the hill here. We're going to put the cinematic camera back on if I can actually get things sorted. Stop hitting the wrong button. Ahmed is the guy out in front of Perry and Fluffy, but he's done a decent job to start recovering. Skyline is up into 8th at the stands. Owen, 6 seconds, 6-1. Owen must have had an error. Owen definitely had an error because he's got damage. He's still sliding the car. Skyline is hunting him down now. And Comfy has opened up the gap again. Oh, Owen making a vital mistake there. Just as he looked like he might have been able to fight for the top 7, he could have had an opportunity, a position against Comfy. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to take advantage of that now. He's going to be fighting his way against Skyline for the rest of the race. Comfy has got a little bit of breathing room. Richard is still in 5th. BX is now into the pits. That will be his last stop. Zico staying out with Javi directly behind him. 6/10 to a second split these two. And BX has made his stop. Javi has still got to make his. Dino has got himself up in a 3rd. He's out ahead of BX. Richard out ahead of BX as well. The BX is going to have to hope that on his medium tires he doesn't run into a little bit of traffic. He might be heading straight into it. Is he going to get ahead of Comfy? Yes, he is, just about. Comfy in a 2nd, but BX should be able to drive away given the fact that he's on the fresher set of mediums of the 2 drivers here. Comfy does have the momentum. Yeah, BX should be starting to make a little bit of a gap here now that kind of momentum has stopped dead in its tracks. Zico and Javi still going at it. 5/10 of a second split the 2. We know Javi made a mistake. We just don't know how vital that mistake is going to be, how crucial in terms of time that mistake is going to be. We know the gap was about 6 seconds. We should, on the basis of that information alone, figure out that BX should be out ahead of Javi when they come into pit on the next stop. It's about 14 laps to go on this race. Zico and Javi will stay out one more. We know Zico has a medium tyre to go on to. We know Javi has a soft tyre to go on to. And Zico is trying to get as many laps out of these softs as he humanly can, which I guess makes a lot of sense. Given the scenario, Richard now into the pits, so any chance of BX getting caught up in some traffic is over. And Conti into the pits behind as well. He's got more fuel in the tank than Richard has. Richard is going on to the mediums. Conti also has more in the tank than Owen does. I'm guessing Skyline had... Oh no, Skyline got damage! Skyline has damage! He must have made an error now. People making errors left, right and centre. You can see in front, I think, that's Richard. That is Richard. Fluffy Butt is going by. Perry and Richard. These two are fighting for position. Perry with a little tap there on Richard. And Richard comes back and hits Skyline inadvertently. Perry with a little tap on the driver there. Richard on the mediums, Perry on the mediums. This is a fight for position. Richard's done a good job to get out ahead of the platypus driver. Perry looked to the inside, doesn't get it. And again, a little bit of a strategy blind, and might have gained Richard a couple of positions again. Another top 5 finish on the docket now here for Richard. He knows he needs to hang on against Perry to do so. In comes Zico, in comes Javi. We know a medium tyre going on the Project Platypus car and a soft should be going on to the Arix driver's car. Fuel should be roughly the same, 55, it's 60 for Javi. Mediums is the case, it's basically identical to what we thought. Zico is going to get out ahead of Javi as a whole as well. That means Javi has 6.5 seconds to catch up after his mistake. 6.5 seconds is a long time, and also Dino got out 8 seconds ahead of Richard out of his pit stop, so Dino is going to have 4th very much on the lock here. Alexa's fuel tank comes in clutch again, and Falcon are going to get themselves one driver in the top 4 and half recover off what has been a really poor day at the office for both Ahmed and Alessandro at the very least. Richard still ahead against Perry at the moment. We saw Richard get a top 5 in Brands Hatch off the strategy and then defending for his life. And now, well, guess what? He's going for a top 5 at Dragon Trail after a good strategy and now defending for his life. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Comfy in 7th is actually only 1.2 seconds off the back of Perry. There is a small window of opportunity here where Comfy's got a chance. There is a yellow flag. It's Javi! Javi's got engine damage! Javi has hit the wall again. Skyline's disconnected. He's out. So both the V2 drivers are out. And Javi has hit the wall again. Dino has been gifted a podium. Javi has got issues left, right, and center. And once again, a 1-2 glorious opportunity handed straight to Project Platypus. It has shades of the first season of ALR Esports all over again. Zico, back-to-back seconds. Where Mahata won the first, BX will win the second. Unless there's a huge mistake incoming for one or both the Project Platypus guys. Dino just sat here looking in for an opportunity now. He's got one. There is an opportunity where Richard might be able to steal one as well. Javi has got a long way to go now. A long way to go. A mistake. I can only assume the death chicane got him again. And we saw earlier on where it did get him. Where he dropped off the back, and this is what created this turmoil in the first place. Javi looked comfortable. BX managed to gain the time, and well, then Javi made the mistake. And that created his 3rd place. Where he had to actually make the moves on Zico and BX, and then he'd gone and done it again, and this time made it more severe. He got damage across all 3 of the front portions of his car, and engine damage for good measure, which cost him a significant amount of time, and now the podium looks increasingly unlikely. Perry also dropped off the back of Richard, and Richard again is just going to get away with defending for his life, and then they possibly get in the top 5 out of something he probably shouldn't have got a top 5 out of. Again, Pegasus isn't going to be complaining too much at that how that unfolds. Just needs to get him a little bit of help. Perry has now got back within a second. The real interesting one now is whether or not Comfy can make up the positions that he lost off of the death chicane incident that he had earlier in the race. Arix has had good positions in this race, and that seems to be the only team that have suffered at the hands of the death chicane. There was a lot that happened, just everything that happened at the start. I didn't really get good enough camera angle because it just shoots you, it gives you the camera shooting down the hill. And there's a lot going on at the same time, so I don't know if there's a good camera angle of it on stream at the start. There was a lot of things that happened. Comfy is starting to reel him in. He is potentially got his eyes locked on a top 5. There's more than enough time for this to happen. Tires aren't going to go off. Medium tires are going to have to defend for their lives now. There is no real way this comes back to them. Oh, Comfy! There is, because Comfy spun the car! Comfy has spun the car! Oh, that's a huge error! And another mistake by Alex, and that has been the storyline that has pervaded the entire night. Opportunities, abundance of opportunities for Alex tonight. They had the lead with Javi. They had a cruise control lead with Javi. A mistake brought him back. He then created another one, which had cost him a podium. And now Comfy, after the mistake, being in 4th in no man, that looked like he was just going to have a cruise control of a day in 4th himself. Created his own little bit of drama. He made the mistake in the death chicane. And now when gifted an opportunity to fight back, he's made a double error. He had a chance to fight back for a 5th. At the very least here with Richard and Perry on the worst tires in front. And he made a double error on the same lap. Spun the car in the 1st sector. Hit the death chicane again in the 3rd sector. And he is a nail for 7th now. Opportunity missed after opportunity missed here for Alex. And this time I can't really bully Slim because it's not his fault. He just never really got off the ground. The other two have had glorious opportunities and fumbled them away. Fluffy is currently in 11th. I don't really see a change in position happening for Fluffy, but it is a significant improvement on what his Lobby A in Brands Hatch was though. He's not getting lapped. There really isn't a opportunity. He can get lapped here and he isn't last. So I think by all accounts for Kavar it's an improvement. Yeah, it's definitely it's an improvement for Kavar. It isn't a high bar to pass, admittedly. Really not a high bar to pass, but you can always, that's why I said at the beginning of the season, when we're going through the season predictions and season, like, preview, I guess, is the right word I'm looking for. All I said there is Kavar can only be looking to get better, to make a step forward, get into Lobby A, and then improve week by week, and that's what they're doing, admittedly. They got into Lobby A first, made it for the first time with Fluffy Butt last week. Last week did not go well in terms of the race itself. He came back, and fair play to the guy. He's done significantly better than he did last week. So there is a step forward. He just now needs to hit the top 10 next week and so forth and so forth. Let's see what else is going on here. Slim 2.6 seconds behind Owen. That might be an opportunity here. It might be an opportunity here for Slim or Owen against Ahmed earlier, later on in this race. You can see him popping up into the good distance now. And it's interesting because Owen and Slim may have an opportunity. Can't be blown away his ones for certain. Perry, he's hanging in with Richard. He is. I'll give him credit for that. He did 6, which is far better than he did last week. And he is hanging in there with Richard. If the tires go off Richard's car quicker, which is not likely given the fact that he went on to mediums a lot later, it might be an opportunity for a top 5, but Perry right now needs to, it's hoping for a mistake rather than hoping to try and cut that gap down. Javi's cleared 6.5 seconds to Richard, so Javi's definitely 4th or better. He is 3 seconds, so he has half the gap to Dino in 3rd. There is the glimmer of hope of a podium. A glimmer of hope of a podium. That's what I'll say for Javi. There is in no world Javi should be in this situation. But there is a possibility he might be able to snag a podium from everything that's happened here. Falcon will be hoping that the dyno can hang on for dear life. Yeah, BX is in cruise control. But we know what happens when you're in cruise control, because complacency can come back to bite you really quick, apparently. It's been a very interesting race to watch. BX and Zico, that should not be anything other than a 1-2, provided there isn't any more mistakes. There is always enough time for a twist in the tail in the dash chicane here at Seaside. There is always enough time for one more. I don't know if it looked likely at this point. Let's have a look. Let's reassess the situation between Dyno and Javi. The last lap. Actually, Dyno's got a little bit of a gap on Javi on the last lap. It's not an awful lot, but it is swinging back in the Norwegian's favour just a little bit. Javi might... We did say it was a glimmer of hope. Doesn't look like that glimmer of hope is going to stick for too long. Alright, 3.2, so a bit better in Dyno's favour again this lap as well. Zico might be actually the one that ends up coming back. With about 6 to go. Richard has cleared Perry now, 1.9, it's about to hit the 2-second mark, so Richard has got himself a gap. And again, what is in a position where the realistic only situation and overtake actually happens is with an incident. Javi's got a little bit of advantage here against Dyno. These laps are relatively similar here, I think. 36.2, yeah, again, relatively similar. 36.5, they both gained 3 tenths on Zico. They need to be gaining more than that, though, if they want to get a chance here. Richard, 8.5 off the back of Javi, so there is absolutely no hope of that happening. And he has cleared Perry by 2 seconds. So it looks like Richard's going to seal that 5th spot, which Pegasus are not going to be too disappointed about. They usually bring their big guns late, so getting 2 top 5s in Lobby A in weeks 1 and 2 of the season is not very common for them. Comfy, let's have a look. 9 seconds off the back of Perry, 9 seconds ahead of Owen, so he is very much in its own little world here. You've got Ahmed overtaken by Owen, so Ahmed dropping down. Slim's got an opportunity at top 9 here. I mean, there is still technically an opportunity with the tyres, because he definitely got the best tyres here, that Slim might be going for top 8. There might be an opportunity where Slim gained a couple of points back, where other drivers, Farix, have lost. Let's see if anything is realistically gonna unfold here. Oh, Slim may have just tagged the wall through the depth chicane there. He has. He's got damage on the rear of his car. He just tagged it just a little bit, and it's enough to cause a little bit of damage, and that'll put an end to any chance of a top 8 or 9 realistically. They might be able to still get Ahmed, but it's going to be a stretch to get Owen further in front.
Fluffy Butts. He's still technically not out. Yeah, I kinda... It's a bold colour choice with Slim, I'll give him that. It is growing on me, the blue, but it is a stark contrast. It's definitely a Marmite, I think, kind of livery. You either like this livery or you just don't. That's about as bad of a thing I can say about Slim today, because he's not really had anything to do with this race. Ahmed is starting to close in on Owen just a little bit. There is an opportunity where these three go to war the last couple of laps of this race. Fluffy Butt has got himself in a little bit, but it won't be enough. Comfy is closing in on Perry, but again, just too little too late. Perry's 3.4 seconds off the back of Richard now, so there's no hope of anything other than a mistake causing an overtake there. 9.5 between Javi and Richard for 4th and 5th, and then it's Javi 2.2 behind Dino in 3rd. There is still a chance. He did chunk 7/10 on that last lap. There is still enough time for Javi to snatch a podium here. You're gonna have to do a better lap than the one he's currently doing, though. He isn't really getting much of it. It is about 2 seconds still. It really hasn't changed an awful lot. It just means that Dino has managed to stabilize the gap a little bit here, and it's running. He's just going to tick up the clock. That's essentially what that means. See if he can tick it out. Oh, that must have been an error. There is an error at the front. There's an error at the front. BX has damage. BX has hit the dash chicane, and it's just to show that nobody's impervious to it. The leader of the race has just had all of his time taken out. BX has caused himself a stress the last couple of laps now. Wow, and now the two Project Platypus boys are going to have a chance to fight it out for the win. And that is not something I would have been expecting to say about 20 seconds ago. It's within a second now. Zico seized the opportunity to make it more than just 2 back-to-back seconds. Javi also now within 2 seconds. There is just a glimmer of hope, albeit that glimmer of hope is fading, and it's fading rapidly. Papaya rules. No idea. We'll wait and see. I don't think there'll be any sort of team orders here. Just let them fight. They've got no real reason to not fight. Neither of them are gonna. Oh, Comfy having a bit of a mare there again. Sliding the car. Perry's had a bit of an issue now as well. Perry, it's 8 seconds behind Richard. That was nowhere near as long, so he must have had a tank in the dash chicane as well. Which means Comfy, with another mistake, has another chance. Owen, Ahmed, and Slim are all the way on the back of each other. Slim, again, is a little bit deep. Fluffy Butt 7 seconds off the back, so his race is well and truly fallen off the edge of the cliff. There are opportunities. There are still chances to go here. Is there going to be any sort of mistakes? It looks like Slim was the one that made the mistake there, but he hasn't got damage, so he'll stay in and around the two that are currently in front of him. He did have the speed scrubbed off, though, so he's going to have to fight his way back on the final lap. Ahmed and Owen fighting it out will help him with that. Owen hanging on just a little bit, because he then slides his car again, and I'm not entirely sure what the camera angle did there. Ahmed looking for it, going for it on the final lap now. Can he get it? Yes, he will. He'll get back ahead of Owen. and gaining another couple of points here for Falcon, who are themselves in recovery mode. Outside of Dinos had an absolute blinder of a race. Picked up where everyone else has made mistakes, taken advantage of them. We're going through for the fight for the lead. It just didn't look like it might happen. It might happen. Here comes Zico to the inside. Zico on the final couple of corners of the race against BX. And he gets to the inside. Will he have the exit? He will have the exit. They're still fighting. Tooth and nail down to the line. Who's got the better speed? They're both in the same car. BX will take it. By less than a tenth of a second it is. Only back-to-back seconds for Zico. Dino's going to get third. Javi running out of time. Only gets fourth. Richard will well and truly take his second top 5 of the season. He won't be too disappointed with that. Probably wanted a little bit more going in. They'll take it coming out. Perry will get 6th. A little bit of another lap or so. And it would have been a lot more interesting between Perry and Conthi, but Conthi, again, just another one that made too many mistakes. Ahmed now ahead of Slim, actually, because Owen's made a mistake. Owen may have damage, or did get damage with the dash chicane. He made a mistake, and he's going to drop to 10th. Ahmed ends in 8th. Slim gains a position right at the end. 9th for him. Owen's out of fuel. Owen's out of fuel. Fluffy, but will get Cavar's first top 10 in ALR. Owen has run out of fuel, and there might be a place for Alessandro, and Alessandro's going to get him. An extra couple of points to the death there for Falcon. And Owen has run out of fuel. And the death chicane gets us all to the end. That's all I'm going to say to that. What a race. What a race that was. Javi with the mistakes. It's just going to be another one. It's one of those. The tale of the woes for Arix. Just taking a drink real quick, get my voice back. But yeah, it's just another one of those tale of the woes for Arix days. Hey, you got to do better than that. And once again, Project Platypus is very strong showing, and all but run away and run away at the start of the season here. Someone's got to step up to try and put a fight to them. And there you go. Wow, a lot happened there. Both DNS for V2. Cavar have finally got a top 10 in ALR. It's everything happened there. Dino podium on debut. There you go. And that is everything we will have for you today. As once again, just a little carnage, left, right, and center. There you go. All right. With that being said, I don't think we're getting standings anytime soon. I'm just going to do one more quick flick between the two. There's your top 5, and there's everyone else. So if Ross needs to have that by any point, he can look back and find it. But until then, I will see you guys this time next week for 61 laps to Blue Moon. Peace.